Now, there's so much talk, of course, about what's being here said, which are issues very close to your heart. But first of all, I want to talk to you about Greece, because this is what investors, what the markets don't seem to understand. It's so expensive now to borrow Greek debt. Is this country going to default?
It should not default, and there is a solution, but there is a need to understand that when there is a rescue effort, which Europe is now putting together, it has got to be at a concessional rate of interest, not at the market rate. Because the market rate reflects all the uncertainties and the doubts about the political will to have a rescue. Now, if there is that will, and I think there is, then a rescue is easily manageable. Because if you can lend $20–30 billion to Greece at the concessional rate that the IMF provides, then you can borrow some more money at the market rate, even at the current market rate, and you get a good mixed rate, which would enable Greece to meet its objective. Is at hand, but there is a hang-up with Germany, and I think one has to face it, that the German Constitutional Court has ruled that if Germany were to provide concession bailout, that would undermine monetary stability in Germany, and then the whole euro arrangement would run into constitutional problems.
But, sir, so your preferred outcome of this would be having the IMF involved and at the same time having Europe offering these preferential rates?
At the same rate as the IMF. In other words, back it up the same way as they did in Latvia. And as I say, Greece is basically meeting the conditions that the IMF would impose, and therefore, if you have an IMF program which is backed further by a European contribution, then I think you would be understate. But right now, because of this uncertainty, the market is going against you, and Germany is saying that you have to borrow at the market. That would be a trap. Greece into a hole, and that hole, that trap, is really the opposite of a bubble. It's the negative of a bubble. So we just had a bubble which has led to a financial crisis in 2008, and we are not out of the woods. In other words, what this conference is basically saying, we haven't yet corrected the imbalances which have created the crash of 2008. And right now, the problem with Greece and with the euro is at the center of the drama.
But it does seem that there's no clear solution in sight that the markets believe. So how do you make the markets follow what Greece is trying to do? Do you have any questions, for example, about the authenticity of the Greek finances?
No, there's plenty of questions because the history is very bad. I mean, obviously, what Greece has been allowed to do was an excess, so that's what created the crisis. But you have a new government. This government has so far shown its will to do the right thing. They are on track, and now Europe has to deliver on its side, because it's really, that's what is the benefit of belonging to the euro.